introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm John, Geek19. I do things. I write stuff. What's up?
So you do, and you're also playing in the our Star Wars Armada Vassal World Cup, the People's
That
Cup
I
this
am.
year.
I smelled what The Rock was cooking and decided to try to become the people's champion.
hmm So as the potential People's Champion, we are cruising right along through the pods right now. Um, Unlike the usual year where we have 8 pods, we instead have 18. God help us.
Easy
Because
peasy.
why limit the fun to 32 people when we can have 72?
We can limit the intense rounds to 36 people.
Yeah, the intense rounds will the Swiss round will have more people than the usual pod rounds. How cool is that? So the games have been going on for a little bit now.
hmm
Every single player has played at least one game, so we're starting to see some things shake out. I I may or may not have correctly identified um, who has clinched a spot in Swiss and who hasn't yet. I think I did a pretty good job here. We have
Sure.
3 pods who are definitely finalized because all the games have been played. And then
hmm
we have some pods that are almost done with just one game left to play, and then we have some more pods that are still shaking out. So,
hmm very important question. I
mhm.
don't need an answer yet, but before the end of the stream, what is much like every World Cup has a theme for it? Like there was that one in South Africa where Shakira did it and everything like that. What is the Vassal World Cup theme song this year?
It's a theme song. Isn't it just the main Star Wars theme, like always?
I
Or
thought we were moving on. I thought we were doing a Cantina band this year.
or more accurate, I suppose. I suppose the theme for Star Wars this year is like the Mandalorian outro. So maybe we'll go with
Ooh, I
that.
like that. I like that choice. It's a good choice. It's a good choice.
Mm.
So, mhm.
Anyway,
so
what should we talk about first? Should we talk about the pods that have finished?
yeah, let's talk about those, and then at some point, let's start talking about what the most interesting looking pods left are. What pod did you see that didn't go the way you expected it to, or going the way you expected it to? Go
Okay.
from there. So,
Um, all right. So let's talk about the first pod to finish, which was Pod Constantine. So
hmm
that's an interesting name for a pod. Oh, that was wrong. Okay, hold on. So Pod Constantine. It had Outbound Flight as the top seed, and
hmm
then it got just filled with an absolute rogues gallery of players. So we had Comatose.
I do not want to face that entire. It's an entire tournament list I don't want to face of people.
hmm Gilad Palaeon and Paul slash Gator F2787, which is that's a mouthful of a name.
Gator, it is shortened.
He wanted to be Paul, but there were already too many Pauls. So let's take a look at before we even look at the score. Let's just take a look at the lists here. So
hmm
Outbound Flight shows up with Tarkin Time, 400
hmm
points of 3 Architans run by Tarkin. Each of the Architans has expert shield techs, reactive gunnery, engine techs, and linked turbo laser towers. So these guys
hmm
are more difficult to kill, good flak, good shooting. They they fire back at you, and then he's got a Gazanti with Admiral Chernow, parts resupply, boosted comms, and vector. So it's a squadron pusher. All the Architans can be squadron pushers, And then for squadrons, he's got Soontir Fel, Mauler Mythil with Admiral Chirpy being the combo. Three TIE Advanced Squadrons, the just kind of all-purpose fellows to work well with Soontir Fel and Mauler Mythil, and Saber.
Hmm.
So, your thoughts?
I like the idea of it. I have not seen Soontir in a long time. But it seems like a solid 81 points of just uh being able to tie up opposing squads, and the advanced throw black dice. Like it's a speed 4 A-wing against, other ships or everything like that. So with, different health, but it throws a black dice. Like that's not a bad option. The I know how it played out, so I'm gonna reserve anything else after that. So.
Okay. So, next up, we've got. Well, I'll just say that I like it. I just worry a little bit that three Architans, three small base ships, just doesn't feel to me like enough ship power. If that
Hmm.
makes any sense, as prickly as they may be with expert shield techs and reactive gunners, I just I don't
Hmm.
know.
Yep.
So next up is Comatose. Comatose brings a Garm into the fleet, and I wanted to like this
uh.
so much because it's like it's all the things that I like in a list. You've got two Peltas, you've
Hmm.
got Garm, Torin Far and Fighter Coordination Team on one, Lando and Fighter Coordination Team on the other. Um, a Nebulon B with New Yavaris on it. New Yavaris now isn't a double attack, but it's if you don't move, you add a die that's already in your attack pool. And then a GR-75 with Wedge Antilles and Bomber Command Center. And then just B Wings and B Wings and Nora Wexley to give the bombers that strip a shield crit effect, 10 nub to swat enemy fighters out of the sky, Biggs a single YT 1300, and Jan Ors for defense.
I've seen this fleet for. When did 1+4 still exist? Was that like 2017?
Yeah, that was a long bit ago. That was so
Like, because
one
that's how
plus
long.
1+4 was one combat ship and four transports for anybody not familiar with the term.
Yeah. Because Comatose has been flying this since then. I actually,
Mm-hmm.
my one of my first encounters with him was when he flew this at the Michigan Regional in Handwave 2017, and it's only been improving in his abilities with it since then. And I know what this can do. And you look at yourself and you say, there's two Peltas and they don't have a fleet command on them. And a fleet command would only be slowing him down. It is a terrifying list. It can just get. You ever see a Speed
Even,
5 B Wing?
but
Would
what
you like
about,
to?
but what about with the weakened Yavaris and the weakening of Jan Ors um, and Intel? Can it still is it still as scary?
Yavaris is not as scary, but it still does crazy good work. I mean, like a B Wing throwing two blacks and a blue is not something I would like to see.
Okay. Well, let's move on to GP here. Gilad Palayon, who has the hard to pronounce, improperly spelled version of Thrawn's favorite captain. So, speaking of Thrawn, he's got Grand Admiral Thrawn as his commander. He's got a Kuat refit loaded to the gills. That's the boarding team Darth Vader, electronic countermeasures, leading shots for rerolls, expanded launchers to just hit like a truck,
Hmm.
Chimera, and starting out entrapment formation, but you got to assume it won't be entrapment formation for long.
It will not.
So then we've got a Gladiator 1 with newly more expensive Brunson, ordnance experts, engine techs, assault proton torpedoes, and demolisher. 91 points of Gladiator. Um, that is a pricey Gladiator.
It's worth it.
Then we've got Captain Nita Turbo Laser Reroute Circuit Architons, a good solid classic there. A Hondo Onaka Comsnet Gazanti, and a Comsnet Gazanti. So tokens for days.
Hmm.
No squadrons.
He just goes. I've seen what he can do. He'll just go right through your carrier. It's if you're not ready for it, it gets eaten quickly.
Mm. So then the question is, how does he deal with those B wings that we see above? Will he eat the carrier first, or will the B wings eat him?
That's a spoiler, isn't it?
That is a spoiler. And so finally, we've got Paul Gator. He has brought a Super Star Destroyer.
Hmm.
So the Star Dreadnought Assault Prototype, Jer Gerard, because of course Jer Gerard,
Hmm.
Ravager, because Ravager.
Yep.
He's gone Damage Control Officers, Intel Officer, Riva, and I have not seen Riva in long enough that I'm gonna have to look up Riva.
She's the one where if you spend a you can tap her to unexhaust a red defense token if there's a shield in the zone being attacked.
Well, that seems reasonable enough.
Yep.
So then, um, rounding things out is a Raider 1 with Instigator, Hondo Onaka, Ordnance Experts, and Flechettes. That's a spicy meatball there.
I haven't seen flechettes in a while.
Mm-hmm. And a Gazanti with Darth Vader Officer and Comsnet for choking out people for more damage. And Comsnet,
Yep.
I'm assuming, to feed new gunnery teams their Con Fire token.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot it would want to be feeding.
So
It's a good build. It's strong.
how did it go? The answer is Outbound and his Architons did not live up to the
Mm-hmm.
hype of top seed, unfortunately, and Comatose and his B wings just missed out. Although you can see from if you look in the upper corner here, you can see that his scores were different. So he won big once and lost big once and got a 7 point win. So
Mm-hmm.
the problem was that his one big win was against Outbound Flight, and so was everybody else's. So
Mm-hmm.
then we go to GP. GP won big against Outbound. Um, he lost, but not by much, to Comatose. That was the 7-4. And
Mm-hmm.
then he won big against Paul.
Yep.
And then um, Paul won big against Outbound. He won big against Comatose. That was the 10-point win. And then he had that loss against GP.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's. I watched
Mm-hmm.
several of the games there, and it seemed like it. GP's been flying that fleet for a while. He knows what he's doing with it, and it's If I ever need demo lessons, I go to GP and just.
So we had three players all with 2-1 records, but GP won
Mhm.
big when he needed to win big, and lost small when he needed to lose small, and more importantly, had four more MOV. So he moves
Mhm.
on, and then Paul just barely got second place in that pod, and he will move on as well, both with 22 points.
Mhm. MOV was what, four difference between him and GP? That was a.
Four difference, 574 versus 570. Talk
Mhm.
about a nail biter, and that was just the first pod to finish up. Let's actually take a look into Europe for a bit and Pod Maydeen, because I think Pod Maydeen was the second one to finish up.
I think so.
If I can find it here, Pod Maydeen, right
Mhm.
here. So we've got Ginkgo, our everyone's favorite crotchety British man, Irish Madcat, who, if you're if you're on the Steel Strategy Discord, you'll have seen Irish Madcat posting videos that he produces.
They're good videos. I like them.
They are. Um,
Mhm.
Roald, I think I pronounced that right, who I know very little of, and
Mhm.
Kaiser 1977, who I also don't know a heck of a lot of.
I'm gonna guess he's a German who likes Star Wars. I could be very wrong.
That seems reasonable, and my guess is that probably he's probably somewhere around 43 years old.
Shocking. Shocking.
Okay, so we'll just glaze over these. So Gink, he's got Ozzel, Onager Test Bed, um, Kuat Refit, which is his flagship, two Gazantes, a Raider, Sienna Re, and a TIE Fighter. So
Mhm.
small squadron base, some decent hitters, and some support ships.
Mhm.
Irish is our second of two Garm players. Two Garm
So,
players total in the tournament, and he's running an MC-80 battle cruiser. That's the Liberty style. Um, he's got Garm on that. Engine Techs Mon Cairn. We've got a Pelta with Intensify Firepower and Ahsoka Tano. I love this list already. We've
mhm.
got a CR90 with linked turbos and Jaina's Light. We've got a Neb B with linked turbos and Salvation. We've got Tycho, two A wings, and Lando. So again,
Mhm.
I'm digging this list.
I
It
would call
feels
it
like
a hot
something.
as fire.
It looks very dumpster fire esque. The dumpster
Yep.
fire being me and Schmitty's baby, mostly Schmitty's baby these days, of four combat ships, a moderate sized squadron ball, and just hitting the enemy multiple times. I like this. It's my kind of list.
This is the
And
way. It looks good.
moving on to Roald.
Ooh.
He's bringing a separatist fleet, namely
Mhm.
Count Dooku.
Not a lot of these. I,
Not a
I
lot.
like
I
this.
think I think he is the only Count Dooku player.
That's some strong confidence. I like it. I like it.
So he's running two munificents. We've got Dooku, a an absolutely Christmas treat out munificent. Dooku, Wat Tambor, engine techs, reinforced blast doors, linked turbos, and Sa Nalor. We've got
Mhm.
a munificent comms frigate with
Mm.
Rune Hako, engine techs, expanded hangars, linked turbos, and tide of progress. So an engine teching carrier, lots of lots of lots of commands
Mhm.
necessary to make it do what it needs to do. We've got a hard
Mm-hmm.
cell transport with Bomber Command Center, Foreman's Labor, and Hondo Onaka. And then here we go.
Just,
Four.
just
Look at this squadron. Look at this squadron ball. Just take a
yeah.
moment. Look at it. That's a lot of
Three
bombers.
aces, bombers, and tri-fighters. Tri-fighters being the
Mm-hmm.
most well-rounded of the.
Mm-hmm. This
Mhm.
is this is 180. This is 108 points of. We're going to mess you up if you didn't bring any fighters. And
Mhm.
well, Garm did bring some fighters, and Gink brought just a little bit. Let's see what Kaiser
Mhm.
brought. He brought a pair of Starhawks. Okay, so
That's it. Yep. Yep.
that's
That's with
that's a
Christmas tree Starhawks.
that is a decision that he made, which I guess so. Like the usual way of dealing with a Starhawk is to ignore the Starhawk and just kill whatever isn't the Starhawk.
What if there wasn't that option?
So that's off the table. Now you have to bring down one of those bad boys, and you've got Agate on one. Um, Blissex is on the other, so he can.
Mhm.
So and it's a choice that is made, and let's see how it worked out for them. So taking a look here, we have Gink winning with 21 points.
Mhm.
He won two reasonable wins at 8 points each, and lost a close one at 5 points.
Mhm. That's a very close one.
Very close one. Um, Ruald got in very close. He did win all three of his games, but they were all by more narrow margins, as two sevens and a six.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, that means neither Garm moved on. Irish Mad Cat, he gets one 8 point win and then doesn't quite perform in his other two games. So he's out. And then double Starhawks, it turns out, is not the correct suggestion. It looks like everyone was able to kill one Starhawk and ignore the other
Oof. Yeah, that'll do it.
one. That will do it. I'm pretty sure I couldn't I could be wrong, but I'm like 90% sure here that do you think that is Pod Sato also European? I could be
No,
wrong.
I
I think that's
Roquex is Canadian, so
okay.
it
So
might
then
be like
it's mm-hmm.
yeah.
So yeah, then this is another North American pod here. We can go and look at that one real quick, and then I think just to save some time, I think we'll just look at some of the big games that are coming up that will decide some of the pods. How does that sound?
Sounds good. Sounds like you're getting a little sick of relitigating every list.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, so Pod Sato. Here we
Mm.
go. Roquex, Liam, Armchair Jedi, and Rythos. So Roquex has MC MSU plus YTs is what he's calling it. We've got a pair of MC30s with Kraken. We've got a pair of GR75s. And we've got six YT2400s, Lando Calrissian, and a Lancer. Woof. Woof. That
That's just
is
mean.
that is a squadron ball.
That's a mean looking ball, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So theoretically, all you have to do is kill a pair of MC30s.
It's under Kraken with a
Mm-hmm.
whole bunch of
Mm-hmm.
expert shield techs, and it's fine. It's fine.
Admo and Foresight, yeah. So moving on,
We're
Liam,
all fine
he has
here.
brought Admiral Sloan. He's got an ISD Sovereign and Christmas Treat Out at 185 points. Darth Vader
Mm.
Officer Comsnet on a Gazanti, something that we seem to see a lot of here. We've got a Quasar Fire with Squall, Commander Beck, Flight Controllers, Boosted Comms, Reserve Hangars, and then we've got um, the closest thing to Imperial Aces you're going to get these days Saber Black Tempest, none of which count towards the Ace cap.
Wink.
Sienna Dengar, Merrick Steel, Mauler Mythal, and a TIE Fighter.
Hmm.
115 points. That's
Yeah.
that looks mean. I wouldn't want to go up against it.
No, Sloane is mean to fight.
Mm-hmm.
She can get real mean.
Okay, Armchair Jedi. He's got what he's calling Screed Kuat Glads, is in plural because he's got two gladiators.
He has three gladiators.
Three. He has three gladiators.
Ah, ah, ah.
That is a lot of gladiators. So no squadrons. Not maybe
Hmm.
not the best thing to bring to a squadron fight, but we've got a Kuat with early warning systems,
Hmm.
Admiral Screed, Nita, proton torpedoes, ordnance experts, and ion cannon batteries. That is a
Hmm.
lot of crits to not have the double crit buddy on them.
Yeah.
Um, so his three gladiators are all assault proton torpedoes, auxiliary shield teams, and ordnance experts. One has Eden. One has Admiral Titus, my favorite unforced error commander or unforced error officer to slow down or speed up an enemy ship after deployment, and a skilled first officer.
Nice.
And then, oh look, a Gazanti with Comsnet and Darth Vader. Where have we seen that? Oh,
Everywhere.
and then Rythos has Mon Mothma Amity.
I love Mothmar, Mothhawk.
Mothma Amity. Um, so we've got an Evade Starhawk with wallets, weapon battery techs, ion cannons and linked turbos, an MC-30 with foresight, and a kind of a standard external racks build. We've got a CR-90A with Leia and turbo laser reroutes, and then we've got just a small squadron ball, Lando, Shara, Tycho, and an A-wing.
Hmm.
So, how do you think everybody did?
Well, I'm gonna go with well.
Okay, so it looks like it was Roquex taking it away with his list. He won all three games, all
Hmm.
respectable, solid wins, and then everyone else just kind of split it. So Liam lost all three of his games, but not by much. Armchair won two and lost a big one.
Hmm.
Rythos won once and didn't lose two games by much, but just 1 point was all it took for Armchair Jedi to take the lead. So that is Armchair Jedi's Squadless Screed moving on, and Roquax and his tons of YTs. Dear God, that is a lot of YTs. All right. So next, let me just talk about my absolute favorite game that is going to be played still, which is between Fox Omega and Veleno 11 down in Pod Sloan,
Hmm.
because this literally every single player that except for Docta, who has already made it in, every single player is watching this game, waiting to see how it ends. So
I hear
Alzur,
that Doctor.
mhm.
I was gonna say I hear that Doctor guy's pretty cool.
You bet it. No, I'm actually really I'm probably gonna be watching while I'm working Wednesday morning on this Fox
I
Omega Valeno game.
I imagine it doesn't really affect you because the first place or second place doesn't really matter for seeding purposes,
You
unless there's
you
triple
played
headers.
this is Doctor talking to us, by the way. So, I mean, if you want to talk about uh what both of their lists were like, Fox and Valeno.
Yeah, so Valeno and Fox both played really well. Valeno's more of his squad based fleet, so he's got like around 130 points of squadrons with the Starhawk leading the way
Ooh,
and two GR-75s supporting it.
oof.
Yeah, so it's
Hmm.
a
That's
tough
neat.
squad ball to fight. Yeah,
It
and
looks like it's Lando, Dutch, three X-wings, Biggs, and Janors. That's that's a pit. All right.
look at those GR-75s.
Hmm.
Oh yeah,
So, but
here.
those are that's a pricey GR-75. Bright
Yeah,
Hope, Adar Talon, Expanded Hangar Bay Bomber Command Center, and the other one's Quantum Storm, Torin, Far, and Comsnet.
yeah, he's good about keeping them at range. He did a good job this morning with that. Um, and then delaying the engagement with until the Starhawk gets into firing range and really punching something out. This will be interesting to see how that matches up against Fox Omega's list, which is close range oriented, with the exception of his TRC Nita Architon.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's got ISD2, and then he's got a Raider 1 with Corvus, and then the Gladiator 2 should maybe do some work actually against those squads.
The
But
the Gladiator 2 is probably his Agent Callus Gladiator 2 could actually do some decent damage. Maybe not necessarily. I mean, it'll still do some damage against the X-wings, but it's looking to pick off Jan Ors and
yeah,
Biggs.
yeah, and he's got Mauler too to hopefully make everything a little easier to kill. So yeah, that's gonna be an interesting fight. Be interested to see what Felino picks in terms of first or second player, because I think that really changes how the game will be played.
Yeah. So
So
here's the cool part about this fight. So if Valeno wins, he's got to win by an 8-3 or better. So
yeah,
if he wins, but he wins with a 7-4 or a 6-5, Alzer will have he'll either have more tournament points or tie and wins out on MOV. There's no way Valeno can catch him with a 7-point win because Alzer's sitting on 400 MOV.
Hmm.
Fox Omega is in with a win, period. Valeno has to get an 8-point win, but he can't just squeak out a win. So this everyone's watching this game right now. This is one of the most interesting games that we can possibly get.
Hmm. Looks real interesting. I'm excited for it.
and this is my favorite part about pod play is these really interesting scenarios uh,
Mm-hmm.
that everyone wants to watch and keep their eyes on, because both fleets are really interesting too.
Mm-hmm. And you want to
A
see
little bit
which one you might have to face again in the uh, in the top four after
yeah,
Swiss.
based off previous results, I'll take Valeno, but
All right. Let's move into another game that's waiting to finish up a pod. So Pod Kraken. Truthiness has already clinched his position more or less at the top of the pod. There's a chance that someone could catch him, but Um, we're still waiting to shake out number 2, and that is a final game between Tiger Commandant and Paul Heaver. So anyone that plays X-Wing may be familiar with Paul Heaver.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's take a look, Pod Kraken, at what they've brought. So, Tiger Commandant has brought a Jer Gerard. He's running an absolutely kitted out Victory 1. A way to look, the best way to look at this Victory 1 is it's a combat ship that also can flak.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got Agent Callus, Warlord, H9s, Ordnance Pods, quad laser turrets, and local fire control. So this thing's built. It can shoot, but it can also it can also flak, very mean flak. So we've got a Raider 1 with the Darth Vader boarding team, Corvus, Eden, and X-Rex. We've got a Gazanti with Hondo Onaka and Comsnet because Vader's already the boarding team Vader, so we can't have the traditional Vader Comsnet Gazanti. And then finally, we've got an Imperial 2 Star Destroyer, Moff Jer Gerard, Emperor Palpatine, local fire control, early warning systems, ion cannon batteries, link turbo lasers, Chimera, and Chimera's starting with entrapment formation, but that won't stay that way for long. And just the traditional Imperial 30 points of fighters of Sienna Ree and Valen Ruder.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Heaver has brought Kraken. Not C Kraken,
Oh.
but K Kraken.
Oh man.
And he has brought 4 Munificents with linked turbo laser towers, and one of them has Kraken in an auxiliary shield team. The other 3, that's it. Munificent, linked turbo towers. And he's running
just roll great.
and he's also running 58 points of squadrons. You've got DIS T-81, Flak a Frock, and General Grievous.
Yow.
Live and die by the red dice, live and die by, oh dear God, 4 Munificents.
Witness. I witness him. I mean, with Kraken there, you're not dying too hard from the red dice because it's just.
That is true.
Yep.
Kraken, as long as you have one of those Munificents in range, you're putting it out from downtown. That it's a gimmick. It's 420 points worth of gimmick, but it's mean. Or $420 worth of gimmick, but it's mean.
Yeah. That's why it's great for Vassal, because you don't have to buy any Munificence.
But you should.
Clone results disagree.
I've got $200 worth of Munificence myself, and I kind of regret not having 3.
I understand.
I hope they start offering Munificence as a standalone, because I want more, but not at that price point. But what a great ship it is, and so yeah, the 2 of them are playing, and Paul needs, so it's 14 points versus 12 points. So in order to overtake Tiger, Paul would need.
He needs at least a 7-4.
Not only a win, but it's got to be at least a 7-4. It can't be a 6-5. A 6-5 ties him. No.
Yeah,
Six
6'5".
five. 6'5" leaves him down by 1. A 7'4" puts him up by 1.
Yep.
MOV doesn't matter
Right.
in this case.
Hmm.
Tiger can still theoretically win the whole thing by getting a 10-1, because that would put him at 24 points.
Hmm.
Actually, a 9-2 would probably be enough for the MOV.
Oh, with the MLB, yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So an interesting game there. We've got Four Munificence versus, oh dear God,
The bricks. The
that
bricks.
mhm. That victory is not going to do a whole lot against fighters with only 3 fighters on the table. But those 3 fighters are kind of pricey, so
Hmm.
we will see. Easy enough for them to avoid it.
Hmm.
Do either of you two have a pod that you want to look at?
Um, Doctor, go ahead.
I'm just here to enjoy the show.
Oh, okay. Um, I've been vaguely following a lot of them. There's
Mm-hmm.
none that I mean, like the ones with one game played, the people with one game played in some of those pods. It's very interesting. Just doing a quick rundown, and I'm not doing individual lists. Mandalorian Moose in Pod Garm, Caribbean Ninja in Pod Mothma, and JP82729. Um, numbers are hard. PT106 in Pod Akbar with one game, and Klon in Pod Screed, New Gandhi in Pod Tag, Explosive Tuca and player 4047325 in Gergerod,
Mm-hmm.
Rasprodius and MHD and Best Pod Leia. Um, there's a lot that can. There's a lot of people that it's you think you're safe, you think you're there, and it's it's you look over and especially in mine Pod Leia, I look over, I'm like, there's 2 people with one game here, and I'm not sure. Like I want I want to see how that plays out before I start, feeling safe about my scores or whatever. It's
Yeah, seriously. You just there's a lot that we still don't know
mhm.
going into this. Next week is the last week, so
Mhm.
well, sort of. This week is the last week. I think it stops on Wednesday at 4 o'clock in the morning next week.
Wednesday the
Greenwich
3rd?
Meridian, Wednesday the 3rd,
Okay.
0400 Greenwich Meridian time,
Crikey.
which means midnight East Coast. Plan accordingly. Anywho, here's someone I want to talk about. Let's take a look at Pod Dodana, Nebulon B. If I'm remembering correctly, he was a finalist. Um, he was a finalist last year,
Mhm.
and did he win it all?
I don't think so.
Did he?
No.
Winter 2019.
Yeah, winner of
Okay.
2019, the reigning champion is
Yeah.
eliminated.
Oh
Well,
wow.
no. 2020 is the most recent
Oh
Best
no,
World Cup.
winner of 2019, because Aresius won last year, if I'm remembering.
Yes.
So Nebulon B, winner of 2019, eliminated.
Yow.
James Morgan out of nowhere. I don't recognize the name from anywhere. Currently sitting the best of anybody with 2 games played and 20 tournament points. 1 game left to play.
Terrifying.
He
That
he
is
could complete the
the Schmitty.
Mandalorian Moose perfect run here, which Sam could still pull off, but the Mandalorian Moose special of going 30 out of 30 possible points in the pod round.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just rocking it. I want to take a look and see what he's running. So he's
Oh boy. I'm
and
looking at
he
that
is
list. That
running.
is terrifying.
Oh wow, that is gross and wrong. So we've got an Onager test bed. We've
Oh
got
boy.
Admiral Sloan, and that Onager is kitted out for Bear.
Rar.
Intel officer, Vernilian,
It's
veteran
it yeah.
gunners, OP cannons. Yeah, we've got Demolisher. We've got a Quasar Fire with Darth Vader for good measure. Darth Vader officer, so that he can feed other officers to rerolls.
Mm-hmm.
And then Squall, because of course Squall. And then we've got Muller Mithil, Tell, Colonel Jendon, Merrick Steele, and 3 interceptors. Wow.
That is a mean looking list.
That is beastly. And he and his opponent are already in it. So
Yep.
the question is merely how much can they run up the score. So he's going to be up against an Akbar assault frigate, an MC-30 scout frigate, another MC-30 scout frigate. Both of them have shield techs, external racks, turbo laser reroutes, and one of the 2 titles. A Comsnet Bright Hope GR-75, Lando Shara Tycho.
Mm-hmm.
That's not enough squadrons. I mean,
It's not.
Uh, mm, mm. Um. Yeah, I don't know if that's enough for him to get the perfect score.
We'll see.
But what I'm saying is he's got a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look at. Want to take a look at while we're here? Take a look at Aresius, the defending champion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he is Pod Riken. Finding it for us, Pod Riken. So defending champion Aresius, what's he running? He's running
Oh.
an Aglet Star Cruiser. Moncaron, just Christmas treat out. Moncaron, expert shield tech, so he's probably taking a second redirect.
Yep.
Kafkin and Sholin, engine techs, spinals, excise, 7s, and heavy ion emplacements. That's brutal. Drill, baby, drill. The GR-75 with Ahsoka Tano and munitions resupply. A pair of naked hammerheads. Tycho, Shara, Lando, Hera, Golden Askurg.
That is a mean looking squad ball.
That is mean. He's doing pretty well for himself. Currently at 16 points with 1 game left to play. He's up against Real Veers, who is just 1 game below him. And Real Veers is running in Architans, a Gazanti with Comsnet, a Gazanti with Commander Woldar. I am going to need a reminder what the heck Woldar does.
He is like the slightly worse. He's the different Tauren, where you can re-roll.
Right. If you've got something.
You can re-roll against squads if with your non-swarm squads. So TIE Advance, Phantoms, etc. It gives them
So he has
like a
brought,
fake swarm.
So he's brought almost no swarm squadrons.
Mm-hmm.
But just to continue, he's got Sloan on his Raider 1 and Hondo Onaka. And then he's got Admiral Cherno, flight controllers, boosted comms, and squall. And then up 34 points of squadrons. We've got Merrick and Jendon and Mauler and Morallo and two Lambdas.
This reminds me a lot of Dennis's list from Worlds 2019 because that's when we last had Worlds. The Quasar, the Architens, and the Raider with Sloan on it. It's yep,
Well, I want to say Real Veers. Is he German?
I believe so.
He may be very familiar with this list.
That's true. I forgot Dennis is German.
Only one Phantom on the table, but oof,
With Morallo and two Lambdas, it's
oof.
you'll get there.
Mm-hmm. Plenty of damage there. So that will be a game to watch. Maybe a preview of the top four. Both of them already guaranteed to move on. Right now, they're just playing for pride and position at the start of the Swiss. So let me just tab over here. I want to take a look at what our current numbers are for commanders. So
Of what's left and all.
well, here's the thing. As games are played, the commander numbers that I have fill in, so we can see which commanders are doing well and which commanders.
Aha.
So commanders that are, we can see which commanders are currently overperforming. Garm has performed completely averaging, having completed all of his games and averaging 5.5 points. Like, you can't get more average than that.
That's also the best performing Rebel Admiral right now.
Yes, technically, but games remain to be played.
Of course.
Kraken is pretty darn close, and I think there's still a couple of Kraken games outstanding. Specifically in your pod, there's two.
Yeah, Rasp has to play both of the people I've played already. So.
And
Oh no! One of
maybe
them. He played one of them. I have to play one. I have to play Rasprodius. So I'm gonna be doing my best to
to
drive that Kraken number down.
keep the numbers low. There's also two Kraken games outstanding in pod Jared Gerard. So still a few outstanding there. I think the big story is Agate has just been. I
Everywhere.
feel like Agate has been everywhere, but hasn't been performing up to snuff. So at the moment, Agate's sitting at a 3.36. There's still a lot of Agate games outstanding, but she's going to have to win a lot of them to bring that number up. There's still, I believe, some Leia games outstanding. One, two. Do you want to talk about it?
I mean, it's Leia can't fail. She can only be failed. That's the.
So yeah,
Wait.
she's at 3.44. You're gonna have to work at it to make sure that you don't fail her.
For the last time.
Akbar is like right on the cusp of breaking even here. Speaking of which, Doku has finished all three of his games, I believe. Yeah, Doku has finished all three of his games and averaged out at 6.67. That is a respectable number. Thrawn has finished all three of his games and averaged out at 7.33. Again,
Yeah, it's because GP is insane.
again, not a lot of sample size. K Kraken still has some games left to play, as we know. Obi-Wan Kenobi has finished all three of his games, I think. And
No, that's.
oh no, he's only played one. He's only played one. Um, it is Bale who has played 2 of his 3 games and
Yeah.
is not. Hmm, that is
That's
unfortunate.
JJ, isn't it?
That is JJ,
Huh?
two
Oh.
time, two-time World Cup champion JJ,
Mm-hmm.
one-time World's champion JJ.
Yeah.
I feel like he hasn't really done anything recently though. So
Mhm. He could still come it back with a he could still come back with a 10-point win and be right back in it.
Yeah,
Um,
that whole pod Gergerod's still in play right now.
mhm.
So.
lot of Padre Gerard still to go. What are we? What else do we? We can talk about the Imperials. Sloan is creeping up towards even. Jared Gerard. Jared Gerard is also creeping in an evenwardly direction, but I'm not sure how much either of them have left to play. Ramadi also is in an evenwardly direction.
I
Um,
think to me, the interesting thing about all the different admirals is the fact that, barring your one-offs of, Thrawn or who's some of the other ones skewing the other way,
mhm,
Palpatine or Regan or Dodonna, a lot of there's no, like, even Agate, who's everywhere. There's not a lot of dominance. Like, the only ones with
mhm,
above 5 right now are Garm, Thrawn, and Kraken and Dooku.
mhm,
Um, which pretty solid for
mhm.
that many admirals and people and everything like that.
Well,
So,
we're still waiting because this
hmm
average assumes every single game has been played, so all the games that aren't played has
hmm
a 0 point total. So we're gonna once
mm,
all the games are played, we'll be able to see the average a little bit better. But as of right now, we're just not seeing any of um, the large number admirals absolutely dominating. The
hmm
only dominations we're seeing are the small sample sizes.
hmm 16.
Yeah,
I'm just doing the.
I need to update who made it into Swiss eventually here.
Mm.
So here's the people on this page that we know are in Swiss, and we know what their point totals are. There's still some people that we know are going to get Swiss, but their final point totals aren't fully updated, so I haven't put them in yet. All of this colored space down here are the empty slots that haven't been filled. And so
hmm
Roquack's currently in the lead in going into Swiss for seeding purposes with 24 points. Armchair Jedi being the one to barely squeak in with 16. And
Hey,
her
you know what they call the last guy in his medical school class, don't you?
doctor.
Yep.
You know what they call the guy who placed 39th at Worlds 2019 in day one?
Would his name be Matthew Kelsey? Is that what they call him?
The Garm is a day 2 commander.
Yep. Leia was not. Leia was not. I was there. Leia had a great
uh,
time getting the meat sweats. It was
mm,
delicious.
meat
Speaking
sweats.
of Doctor, you're missing one from this list.
Hmm?
Yeah, I know. I
Um,
need to update it a little bit.
yeah, I'm
You,
squeaking in second to last right now.
yeah, you just squeaked it in. That's cool. We'll get
Squeak.
it updated in a little bit once I blew out the thing. I'll make it. I'll make sure you're in there. Don't worry. So yeah, I think that's. I feel like we've talked a decent amount of time here. About
hmm
an hour. That's a good time to stop. Severus Snape calls out Mothma. Probably a while back because I wasn't paying attention to the chat.
Doing great. What about Mothma?
Yeah, that's a good question. Um,
Pod Mothma or use
Pod
of Mothma?
Mothma or Commander Mothma, Snape? He just says, "Good job, Biggs." Thanks, Snape. All right, so I'll stop it here at exactly 1 hour. And, he's saying his Admiral, Mothma. All right.
Oh. Oh, she's doing not bad.
Everyone take care. Good luck in the World Cup going forward to both of you. And, yeah, hope to see you all in Swiss.
Can't wait.
Thank you, Biggs.
Thanks.